Welcome to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County. This show is about Plymouth County real estate. Our headline for the month was Midsummer Doldrums. We're talking about the numbers, the recording numbers from July. This show is being taped in August of 2023. We're going to talk about the numbers. I have a great guest in the second segment, a very experienced realtor, Hassan, and we'll be talking about some of Plymouth County and Plymouth Colony's history. So let's go right to the numbers. So you can see the first chart that comes up is deeds. Sales of property were pretty slow last month. 644 deeds, less than the 815 in June, 20% less than last year, which had 802 deeds, and year-to-date we're down 20%. The next image you're going to see is of deeds and unit deeds throughout the 27 communities, from Abington to Whitman. Next you're going to see a bar chart of mortgages. Mortgages have been the documents most affected by the increase in interest rates. We're only about 1,067 mortgages in July, less than the 1,269 in June, but 32% less than the 1,578 in July of 22. And year-to-date in mortgages, because of the refis being down, we're down 43%. You're going to see a bar chart of foreclosure deeds. We always track foreclosure issues. Since the meltdown of 2008, there were only 8 foreclosure deeds in all of Plymouth County in July, less than the 12 foreclosure deeds in June, more than the 7 in July. Year-to-date, down 35%. A foreclosure deed is when a lender has taken back a property from someone, usually from failure to pay, and usually the failure to pay usually comes from a job loss, a medical issue that caused people to get off their game. If you find yourself in trouble, reach out to a federal housing counselor, because the first document we see at the registry is a foreclosure notice, and that shows you're behind in your mortgage and it's moving towards foreclosure. There were 36 foreclosure deeds in July, less than the 51 in June, 8% less than last July, but 39% more year-to-date. You're going to see an image of all the foreclosure deeds and notices throughout Plymouth County for the month of July from Abington to Whitman. You see there are still a lot of zeros there, but you look towards Brockton, Plymouth, Wareham, you'll see some of these foreclosures are coming up again, so don't wait, deal with it. Just want to let people know we offer a free fraud alert. If you go to the registry's website, which is plymouthdeeds.org, and go to resources and click on fraud alert, you can sign up with an email. So if something gets recorded against your property, you'll get an email, and you should know whether or not it's something that's intended or not. Maybe you paid off your mortgage and it's a discharge, but it's a good way to know what's happening with your property. We're still recording at record rates, 80% over the internet for recorded land and over 50% for land court. And I just want to tell people, beware of any scams out there relating to your real estate. For most people, your home is your most valuable asset. Just be careful what you agree to, what you sign, and what you commit to when it's related to your real estate. My guest in the next segment is Hassan. We'll be talking about the state of the marketplace. So we'll see you next segment. Welcome back to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County. In this segment of the show, we've always done something educational in nature. We've had surveyors, appraisers, commercial real estate brokers, a whole range of people involved in the real estate community. Takes a lot of different people in different roles to make real estate work. But we've had a lot of realtors. And I have a realtor with me today who's been a guest before, who's no stranger to talk in film media. Bernie Hassan, welcome.
How are you doing, John? Thanks for the introduction.
Bernie is of Weichert Realtors.
Briarwood Real
Estate.
Yes.
And I remember the day, and a lot of people watching this show might, when you were the prime real estate show in the area from WATD, or WBET.
BET, WXBR, and then
Yeah.
now ATD has bought that, 1460, I believe.
Okay,
But yeah, you're right. We did that about 7 or 8 years. That was Real Estate Today.
yeah.
Every Thursday or Tuesday at 11 o'clock.
Right.
We did that 11 to 1. And
I was a guest a number of times, and
you were.
You really covered a lot of issues.
And that was pretty interesting times, radio. Well, those were the days.
Yeah.
But happy to be here.
Yeah. So why don't you just tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and your business?
Sure. Been a realtor since 1986. I've been with this company, Briarwood Real Estate, since 1991. We purchased a Weichert Realtors franchise in 2007. I've been the sales manager of this company since 1991. I was at a company previous to that from 1986 where I actually was a sales manager there for a while. I've sold multiple properties in Massachusetts. Most of it is in the greater Brockton area, but certainly we sell all over Massachusetts, and I've been a sales manager and realtor, again, like I said, since 1986.
So like me, you've been through many different real estate cycles.
Yeah, seen a lot of things. Yeah, this current market we're in, there is, again, another unique market. Right. I've been through a couple of recessions. Selling through a couple of recessions. Now we're in an inflationary type of market, and here we are. A lot of complicated things to getting houses sold today and get people onto houses.
Yeah, I remember the booms of 2003, during 2008 when everything fell apart. Mm-hmm. Other boom times and other slow times, but each time, you're right, it's very unique. And the unique part of this is no inventory and high interest rates.
Yeah, very interesting, because the last time we had any kind of recessive economy, and again, it depends on where you're looking. This isn't quite a recession or depression or whatever. Right. It's just an interesting economy. You still have, great job numbers, but you have these not so great inflation numbers. So costs of things have gone up. Listen, the real estate valuations have gone up in the 20% range over the last, say, 10, 12 years. That's slowing a little bit. We're seeing that 3 and 4% a year now, maybe 5. But that's still considered a lot in a time, when the price is already high. And that is because of a lack of inventory. And if you went back to the period you were talking about, 2007 and 8, we had tons of inventory. We couldn't sell them, just doing short sales, right. Foreclosures.
Right, totally different world.
Totally different world.
Yeah. So right now you have a lot of buyers. We talked about earlier before you came on the show, and finding the right fit or any fit has been the difficulty.
Yeah, sure. I often, we probably have 50 or 100 buyers in my office that would like to buy a house, and it sounds like an exaggeration, but it's not really that far off. I mean, for the most part, still to this moment, I've just done it this week. I'm heading to sign a purchase agreement after the show on a property that I put on the market a week ago yesterday. Wow. And it sold in one day.
Wow, that's fast.
With 30, 25 people looking at it and multiple offers and over asking. And that's not uncommon. I did have a sale. One of the agents in my office had last week where he went in as the buyer agent, and they offered $5,000 less than the asking, and they got the sale. But that's kind of the anomaly. I think that house had probably been overpriced and the price came down. And for the most part, these houses aren't staying on the market very long, and they're selling still in excess of asking.
Has there been a name for this market? I haven't heard one yet.
I don't know how you name this. So you have still inflation.
Yeah.
And you still have, you have high interest rates, you have high housing costs, high pricing and housing cost. Yet you have qualified buyers with financing coming out of the woodwork to buy homes. So has it slowed a little bit in terms of the amount of buyers? Certainly. I mean, there was a time I can remember showing property and you had to go to open house, especially through the COVID period. So you'd line up with your buyer, you'd be with 50 people getting ready to go in a house, standing down the street. Is it quite like that? No, but I did the showing on that house I talked about last weekend, and there was 25 people came through, and there was 3 people waiting for me when I got there at 9:45.
So what is your best advice to buyers out there, potential buyers out there, getting ready, preparing what they should be doing to get ready to to look around and be serious about it?
Great question, John, because I actually go through this all the time with people I'm talking to. So, we get some inventory, and the minute I get some inventory, we start getting calls, Bernie, what about this house? What's this house? And usually the question is, do you have a real estate agent? Have you done a pre-approval? And if it's no, as a professional, and most professionals should be doing this, unfortunately, not all real estate agents are doing this. I tell them I want them to come in and sit with me. Now, it sounds crazy, actually have a meeting, but you need to have a strategy meeting. And if they're not pre-approved, you need to do a pre-approval before you go out, because if you were to go out and place an offer on a house without a pre-approval, you're not going to be considered. It's just until you have a pre-approval. So you need to do that, and a lot of people have complications. Verifying income complications, and some people don't realize that in order to get into the market, they may need a partner or a co-signer. They may need some down payment assistance. They may need a gift of down payment. All kinds of things that can be made available to someone, but you got to have the ducks in order, and you got to do that before you go looking, because you'll see a property, you'll go out and you'll want to make, and if you're not ready, you're not going to be in the mix with the offers that are going to be part of that. So we encourage what we call buyer consultations all the time, and I even bring in a loan originator to help somebody who does not have their own loan originator. If they've got their own loan originator, I ask them for the pre-approval. We come into the meeting, we sit at the table, I call the loan originator, and we talk about all the parameters of their loan, so I know what I'm doing when I'm writing up that offer, and I've got a rapport with that person.
Right. And what are you finding is the difficulty for people not putting their houses on the market?
Are you talking about not putting their houses on the market and looking to buy a house, or just in general?
Generally sitting. I mean, I've heard a lot of things about they're afraid because they're at a low rate, and if they bought again, it would likely be a high rate unless they're getting a lot of money, have a lot of equity in their property.
So people are always selling for a reason, and there's no question that, and I've had this discussion with people, they bring me in, tell me what the house is worth. Where am I going to go? And what's the rate going to be when I go? And yeah, they do ask that question, and really depends on their circumstances. If they don't know where they want to go, then it is difficult. It depends on what your reasons are for selling. Some people may need to downsize regardless. Some people may be retiring and want to move to another part of the country and go south. So there's a lot of that still going on. But yeah, certainly somebody that has got a low interest rate, probably yourself and myself. I'm in no particular hurry to move this moment, but I'd like to get another house, maybe not. I'm not in the market, but there are reasons why people move: jobs, downsizing,
Closer to family.
retiring, closer to family someplace else.
Yeah.
A lot of reasons why. And again, there's still a lot of houses that are being sold, due to death in a family and somebody inherits a house. So there's a lot of those probate houses as well.
Yeah. So with this person you're signing up today, how long will it take to get to a closing?
I can tell you September 27th.
Okay, fast.
Again, so long as the deal stays together. And I sit with people. I just came out of a listing I signed just before I came to this show. And we talked about what is the length of the listing. And I usually have to take them out 90 to 120 days. You don't need that much time to sell a house. You don't. But sometimes they fall apart, and they have, and sometimes you put them back on. So there are times when things go south and you have to reevaluate and remark the property. But most of the time, if it's one buyer, one sale, coast to coast, we're without any problems, we're able to get in and out in about 30 to 40 days with some luck. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about top 3 things you could tell a buyer to be prepared.
Coming into a buyer consultation with a real estate agent, a professional, and a loan originator. Don't try and do this all by yourself. The conversation I have with people, they call me, Bernie, I saw your house on the corner of such and such. Can you tell me about it? Yeah, it's this much money. You know, oh, I don't know. And then you start getting, they're not ready. Most of the people looking and calling aren't ready. They haven't done the work. So you need to sit down with with your buyer agent, with a real estate agent and a loan agent to get your ducks in order, so that when you write that offer, you are ready to go. As an example, the sale that I'm signing off today, the agent, there were 25 people through, very interesting, only 2 real estate agents showed up with their buyers. They're just like, go look at them and call me when, and there's a lot of that out there today. By the way, quick statistic that just came to me by somebody in the industry who I respect greatly, and I know the number is accurate. Almost 20% of all the real estate agents that you deal with today have been in the market, have been in the business less than a year or less. So most of them are operating from the internet, not meeting people, sending them an open house, electronically writing offers, and have never met them. If they got a pre-approval, they help them get. There's not a lot of cohesive teamwork. I'm not saying that can't work, but it's not the best recipe in a competitive market like this, number one. So the one that I'm signing off today, the agent came with the buyers in the open house, walked them to the open house, asked me parameters of what I thought the sale would be like in terms of terms, and sent me an offer that night. Now there were at least 4 or 5 other offers that started trickling in, but they all came in late. Some of them 2 days later, even after an offer was accepted. You know, and that's where I think people don't understand. When people ask the listing agent, so what's your offer deadline? I didn't have an offer deadline here. I just said, there's no offer deadline, but I may need a couple of days because I have an attorney that has to review along with the seller. But I said, make your offers right away. Don't wait if you're interested in the house.
Yeah, I've heard of people that have hesitated even a couple days and they're out of the hunt.
So this house was out of the hunt 24 hours after I did the open house.
Yeah.
And other people could have made an offer, but they took their time and dragged their feet. And you know, this guy did a great job with the offer. You know, but this is how it is, and which is why you need to have all your ducks in order.
So last, and I always like this topic, the difference between a realtor and a real estate agent.
Well, you know, Realtor is a designation by the National Association of Realtors. So there's a national association, state association, we're Massachusetts Association, and then our local boards. I happen to belong to the Real Estate Association of Southeastern Mass. I'm on the board of directors there. So it's a national organization of professionals with criteria and standards. And just look at this, doesn't mean that a real estate agent who doesn't belong can't, you know, be a good real estate agent, sell your house. But you see it all the time on TV. National Association of Realtors promoting itself, and you know, it's a great organization, and that's what you should be looking for.
And a great promoter of home ownership.
Yes, yes. You know, helping to get you through home. And you know, realtor associations have a great deal to do with the Mortgage Bankers Association and trying to come up with programs that are going to help people. This one program that I'm using today is a local program by a local bank for the house that I'm going to be signing up today. This buyer comes with a 100% financing program out of Harbor One. Our friends over at Harbor One, they completely underwrite the buyer before the pre-approval. So when they bring you a pre-approval, the only thing they need is a purchase and sale agreement, appraisal, and they go to closing. The buyer's ready, and it's 100% financing. Wow. So there is stuff out there. There are down payment programs. There's some great stuff out there to help people.
And lastly, a tip for first-time home buyers. It's a very difficult situation right now.
Find a professional who has experience in both the real estate and mortgage business. You're going to need an attorney. Most of the time they can refer you to one. You're going to need an attorney to review all your purchase agreements and stuff and help you at closing. And listen to those people.
Right.
Listen to those people.
And can you share your contact information?
My name is Bernie Hassan. I'm with Weichert Realtors Briarwood Real Estate. I can be reached at 508-826-3155 every day, all day.
Thank you, Bernie.
John, good to
Always-
see you again,
always great
brother.
to see you.
Great to see you.
Welcome back to the Register Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County. I want to thank Bernie Hassan for the great job he did. Bernie's with Weichert Realtors Briarwood Real Estate, and he's an experienced realtor and gave some good advice about what is happening in the marketplace and what you can do to help yourself if you're looking to buy or sell. I think this segment of the show is always a little lighter in nature. A couple of the holidays for the month that relate to our notable records. National Lighthouse Day was the 7th. World Elephant Day, the 12th. Ukraine Independence Day, the 24th. Women Equality Day, the 26th. National Beach Day, the 30th. So the first image you're going to see is of Hannah Thomas. Hannah Thomas is the first woman lighthouse keeper in America. Her husband went off to fight in the Revolutionary War. He was killed, and after she was killed, Hannah was named the lighthouse keeper. The lighthouse is known as Gurnet Light. It is at the entrance to the or Plymouth Lighthouse, at the entrance to Plymouth Harbor, and she became the first female lighthouse keeper, and she served from 1776 to 1790. They sold the lighthouse to the United States government and is presently cared for by Project Gurnet and Bug Light. And that's related to women equality, that women stepped up and did that job. Another lighthouse, Minot Ledge Light, people refer to it as Lover's Light because the signal is light flashing 143. The number's 143 for I love you. And it's a lighthouse constructed in 1860, 1 mile off the shore of Scituate. The first lighthouse was washed away in a storm. Another one was rebuilt, and there were many shipwrecks that lighthouse kept from happening. And Minot Ledge was sustained by a fellow by the name of William Swift of the United States Topographical Bureau, and a new flashing lantern was installed with that signal, 143. It is on a 25-foot rocky outcropping measuring 0.1 acres, and it's part of the Cohasset Rocks Reef, but it's part of Plymouth County. The property now is in private ownership. In our last Plymouth Colony record related to the beach history this month is Gray's Beach Park in Kingston. 6.5 acre site offers shady and sunny open space, tennis courts, basketball hoops, and public access to a beach. It occupies land that was owned in the 17th century by its namesake, Edward Gray. During Kingston's shipbuilding heyday, several wharfs stood along that. Only Delano's Wharf, now a private residence, remains. In 1936, the town began to look for ways to provide the residents with access, and they took some WPA projects, cleared many of the areas around there from swampy spots, built an access road, and is used today by many, many people. And last but not least is one of our Plymouth Colony records. Our Plymouth Colony records, which are stored on the second level of the Registry Deeds, are fascinating records. This particular one is a record of the land ownership of what was Plymouth Colony. Now, Plymouth Colony was made up of Barnstable County, Bristol County, and Plymouth County, and then it was divided in 1685 into those counties. And this land at the time went all the way from a river in Cohasset along the west. They called it the Western Ocean because they were looking at it from the perspective of England. We call it the East Coast of the United States. And it went all the way up to Kennebunk in Maine, because Kennebunk in Maine was part of Massachusetts at the time. But it's a great story about some of our great history. I want to thank the folks here at Brockton Cable Access helping me produce this show, and Thomas in particular did the work with me today, helped me get this show together. I appreciate these shows being produced. It allows me to share them with other cable access providers around Plymouth County, to share information about what most people is their most valuable asset, their home. So thank you for watching us over the summer. The next show will be in the fall, so enjoy the end of the summer, enjoy Labor Day, and we'll see you in September. Thank you.